Aniki Nikki 始まるよ。
Hello and welcome to another episode of Aniki Nikki. I'm your Aniki Pato, and today we're going to start another mini-series, this time about historical figures in anime and games. So, today I'm joined by Sam. Say hello, Sam.
Hey, it's Sam once again. Back once again from the last time I was here, where we talked about anime we liked from last year.
Yeah.
So, this will be an interesting episode.
So, Sam, do you like history? Do you know a lot about history?
I enjoy history to an extent. I'm probably not the most knowledgeable person on anything, mind you, but it's interesting.
All right, well then, that's enough for me. So, the first person we're going to talk about is my favorite samurai, the one-eyed dragon, Date Masamune. His nickname One-Eyed Dragon, or in Japanese, Dokugan Ryu, comes from the fact that he is literally one-eyed. He wears a sweet eye patch. He's really cool. And also, for me, him overcoming his one-eye disability to become one of the strongest and most feared men in Japan during an age of nationwide war is kind of an inspiration because it's relatable. So,
Gotcha.
Not that I've ever become the strongest and most feared man in Japan, but one day. So, Date Masamune is probably most well known to the Western anime fan through the Sengoku Basara game and anime series.
Yes.
But for Japanese people, rather than that, I think most people will think of the period TV drama Dokugan Ryu.
Okay.
Which actually starred none other than Watanabe Ken.
Really?
Super famous, yeah. This is one of his breakout roles, from what I understand.
Oh, wow!
It was a long-running jidaigeki, or period drama. And he was Date Masamune. So, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, he's nowhere near as popular as other Sengoku era heroes like Oda Nobunaga or even Sanada Yukimura or someone like that. Sanada Yukimura also had a recent TV live-action series done about him.
Oh, okay.
So I keep on being like, when's the Dokugan Ryu reboot? And everyone's like, no one cares.
Yeah.
Whatever. So his likeness has also been featured in a lot of mobile games, like Puzzles and Dragons and Monster Strike and whatnot.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, he's always given really crappy stats.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, in Puzzle Dragons, he's a literal dragon. I don't know, Yukimura and Tokugawa Ieyasu and a whole bunch of other people, Nobunaga, get real character ones, but Masamune is like, oh no, he got a dragon, so it's okay. Okay.
He's a literal dragon?
Yeah, he's a big ass dragon with a crescent moon thing on his head and an eye patch.
Interesting.
But he's really weak. And in Monster Strike, he's a girl.
All right.
And it's the trash of trash. It's a rare egg monster, but it's so weak that there's literally no time you would ever use it.
Oh.
So that really bummed me out because
Yeah.
there actually is there's one game that I am aware of where he's good, and it's Othelania. I think it's Othelania.
Othelania.
It's a Othello/Reversi game.
Oh.
Yeah. But the twist is that all of your pieces have superpowers. So it's got you got to be good at Reversi to do well, but you also have to have a good deck, I guess you would say.
Gotcha.
but he was one of the very early featured super rare ones. So he's good in that game. I saved up a whole bunch. I played that game just because I wanted to get him, and I saved up a whole bunch of rolls. And I rolled like 100 times and I didn't get him, so I uninstalled.
Oh. Yeah.
And that was the end of my Athalonia experience. So anyway, I wanted to kind of shed some light on the real Date Masamune.
Gotcha.
Because he does not use 6 swords at once.
I had a
kind
feeling.
Of ridiculous.
I had an inkling that was not quite accurate.
And to be honest, I didn't actually watch the Basara anime because it was a little bit too over the top for me. I enjoyed the games. I didn't play them like super hard, but I did enjoy them. In my research, I kind of found one point where someone was like, "This is very different than what happens in the anime." So we'll talk about that later. But
okay.
So what I'm gonna say, maybe people who watch the anime are like, "Oh yeah, that's what they said," or I'm like, "Whoa, that's really different." I don't know. So you can be the judge of that.
Okay.
So basically, where I got my information from is I did a lot of web searching, and I'll tell you what, there is like very, very little information available on Date Masamune in English, even on the internet. So I did a lot of web searching in Japanese. And then also, being that I love Date Masamune, I actually went to the official Date Masamune Wax Museum in Matsushima, Sendai. Yeah. It's really cool. It's a huge building with just like wax recreations of important points of Date Masamune's life.
Wow, okay.
Including the part where his mom was really, really mean to him.
Oh.
So we're gonna get there in a minute, but yeah, it's kind of like an emotional journey when you're walking through the museum. You can also wear his armor and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Which is really cool. Yeah, so forget the Kyoto Triforce armor. Go to Matsushima Sendai and wear the sweet Crescent Moon armor of Date Masamune. So let's start with his family. Okay. So Date Masamune came from a relatively small family for the time. There's his father, who is Date Terumune. His mother, who is just Yoshihime. At the time, no one had last names except for important samurai people.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot. A lot of women is like blank Hime, and that's their whole name.
Yep. There was a lot of gender inequality. So from what I found, Date Terumune did not have any concubines. He just had his one wife.
Okay.
That is not the same as Date Masamune, who had like 11 concubines and children with all of them.
Okay.
So, yeah. And his regular wife, but we'll get there. So his mother, Yoshihime, and then he had 2 brothers. One was Masamichi, and then the other was Shuyu. Now, Shuyu is funny because, and let me tell you what, when people are like, why can't I use Wikipedia as a source? This is why. Go to Date Masamune's page. And number 1, they have his brother's name listed wrong. They call him Hideo, which is not Shuyu.
No. No, it isn't.
And actually, yeah, so I was like, wait a second. This says Shuyu, and then another page says Hideo, and then Date Terumune's page says a whole different thing, like about his children. So I started looking in Japanese, and the Japanese Wikipedia page was still bad, and I actually found someone's, like, GeoCities Date Masamune fan page from, like, 15 years ago.
Wow.
And they were like, his brother's name is Shuyu. It's not Hideo, and it's not something else that is often wrongfully attributed to it. It's Shuyu.
Okay.
And then I found a Yahoo Answers to back that up with, so...
Okay.
With a source and stuff. So it's definitely Shuyu.
All right. Is there any information on why this gets confused a lot, or?
Well, you can read the kanji separately as Hideo. Like,
Okay.
it is a more common attribution or reading, I guess, to say Hideo,
Sure,
but that's
sure.
not how it is.
Okay.
It's a relatively common thing, even in current day Japanese, where like, for example, you have the my son's name is Akito,
Mm-hmm.
and you can read Aki as Aki or Shu. So sometimes people call him Shuto instead of Akito.
Okay.
Or a lot of times his kanji is different, so people don't say that. But like, there's a guy I used to work with whose name was Masato, but it was written as Masahito, and I knew another guy named Masahito with the same kanji. So
Okay.
I was like, "Oh, Matsuhito Sensei," and he's like, "Oh no, I'm Masato." I'm like, "Oh, whoops." Like, how am I supposed to know? Because you use the exact same kanji.
Yeah.
It's like, I know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So nothing you can really do about that. But so Shuyu, there's like no information about or sorry, Masamichi rather. Masamichi. No, yeah, Shuyu. Sorry, yeah, Shuyu. Masamichi is the second son. Yeah, Shuyu, the third son. There's like no information on who he is.
Okay.
And I even found some things that were saying like, it's possible that Shuyu was an illegitimate child, and that's why there's like no real information on him.
Okay.
But there's no like backup claim to that.
Yeah, it's just like someone's like, maybe that's why.
Yeah. So that's all the boys. There's just 3 boys.
Okay.
And they had 2 sisters. And here's another thing, even in Japanese, I could not find the second sister's name because she died as a baby. So the first daughter's name was Senko Hime, and this is another one where Wikipedia has like 5 different names for her on different places.
Oh boy. But
I did find some Japanese sources that say it's definitely Senko Hime.
Okay.
So yeah, she also died very, very young, so there's like no information on her.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then Masamichi, he had a tough life. We'll talk about why in a minute, but we'll just say Masamichi did not grow to be an old man like Date Masamune did. So we'll start with Date Masamune being born, right? So he was born as Bonten Maru. I'm not sure if you know this, but and I'm pretty sure most of our listeners don't.
Yes.
In old samurai Japan times, when you were born, you were given a baby name.
Yes. Okay.
And so Date Masamune's baby name was Bonten Maru. And when you turn like 11 or 12, when you have like I'm an adult and I can get married because it's the olden times.
Yes.
Then you get a real name.
Okay.
And then some people then get even more real names, depending on how important they are.
Yeah, okay.
So Date Masamune is actually going to change names twice. So first he's born as Bonten Maru. And we'll talk about him as Bonten Maru, right? He's incredibly smart. Of course, this is coming from the Date Masamune Museum, so they're a little bit, a
little bit biased.
Play him up a little bit. Yeah. It's kind of like when you read like Romance of the Five Kingdoms, the Chinese history stuff. Like, oh, are you reading the Wu side? Because then it's like the Wu were the smartest and everyone else was stupid.
Yeah.
So, So everyone's always like, all right, well, Date Masamune was super, super smart, and his father brought in like the best teachers from all over Japan and had them like live at their house and teach him because he was so smart.
Okay.
But when he was like 4 or 5, it's kind of I've read different things, and some people say no one even knows when exactly. But the most common thing is around when he was 4 or 5. He came down with smallpox, and he was very lucky, and because he did not die, but he lost sight in his right eye. So
Yeah. Okay.
At this point, he's the firstborn son of the Date clan.
Mm-hmm.
Huge family. Lots of retainer families. His father's a daimyo, or like a kind of feudal lord, for those of you who don't know. So it was kind of a big deal. And his mom was like, oh my god, no one is going to be able to take over our family now. And we're going to fade into obscurity. And that's the worst thing that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
So she kind of like ignored Masamune for the rest of his life.
Oh, wow.
There.
Okay.
And she worked really hard to have more babies, and she finally had Masamichi.
Mm-hmm.
So Masamichi, she now is like, okay, you are the new heir.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his father was like, no, Masamune is going to take this over. He's smart, and he can do this. So they made him, his father made him do like 5 times the amount of swordplay and archery practice as the normal person because he has no depth perception.
Yeah.
But being that he was super smart and super athletic, he became super strong anyway.
Okay.
So, during this whole time, his mom is like, "You're useless, and I hate you." And
oh no.
There's the first scene when you walk into the Date Masamune Museum is a wax sculpture of his mom holding out a grape to him, and he's like crying.
Oh.
Baby Masamune, baby Bontenmaru is crying, and she's like, "This is your eye," and then she eats it in front of him. She's like, "It's useless." So
okay.
Yeah, like whoa.
Jeez.
Not a good mom.
Yeah, not
good,
just a little harsh.
Bad moms in Japanese history is the next series on Aniki Nikki, starting with Yoshihime. So, like I said, Masamune, he took that in stride, and he was like, "Oh, it's all right. I'm gonna show my mom I can do it, and she'll love me." But she didn't.
Yeah.
But he did become very, very strong. So, when he was 10, he received his adult name.
Okay.
And at that point, he got the family name. Until you get your adult name, you don't have the family name. You're just Bontenmaru or whatever.
Okay.
So he received his adult name, and he became Date Tojiro, which is a pretty cool name, I think. Also, like very samurai-ish.
Yeah.
And when he took over the family, which was when he started to, he didn't actually take over yet, but when he started to participate in the military stuff, he got the name Masamune, which means a true heart. So
okay, yeah.
And in Japanese, a lot of times people say like your name influences who you are. Like naming your child is a really important thing for a lot of Japanese people because, if you say like, if you give them a name like nice person, like Yuto, then you become a nice person. Like, or if you give them a name that has like beautiful in it, then they become beautiful or something like that.
Gotcha.
So Masamune you'll find out, will definitely live up to his true heart name in his military conquest. Now, I mean, I guess concubines were like a different thing in the time, so it wasn't like, I'm cheating on my wife with 11 women. Like it's allowed because I'm a daimyo.
Yeah.
So a little bit different. Just like, don't think about it in today's standards, but
no, yeah.
When we're going through, I think you'll understand what I mean by that.
Okay.
So he got married at 12, which is again, like pretty normal at that time. And his wife Meguhime was also 12. And then when he was 14, he led his first military campaign.
Oh, wow.
I just want to think about that for a minute. He was 14. Yeah. He straps on his helmet, and this is also the kind of person Date Masamune is. He doesn't take shit from anyone. So most people, they all wear the same helmet as like their constituents. So it's hard
Okay.
to see like who is who on the battlefield.
Oh, gotcha.
And Date Masamune, though, his family had a kind of like moon-shaped crest, but he had a much more large and much more crescent-y shaped crest helm for himself because he wanted people to know where he was. He was like, "Come get some."
Nice.
Like, you did something bad, and now I'm here. So be prepared to deal with that. And
Nice.
so that, yeah. So that's kind of like his early history. I want to talk a little bit about his kind of like military conquest, and we're gonna get into the part about him being like true heart. So,
Okay.
if I were to give you the qualities of Masamune, I'd say number 1, he's very, very loyal.
Okay.
Number 2, he's very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And number 3, he's very, 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 very unforgiving.
Ah.
So let's talk about why I added like 5 varies there. So right after Date Masamune took over the family at 17, when his father retired, he had a retainer by the name of Oji, who was like, this one-eyed kid now is the leader of my clan, or like my daimyo. Like, no way.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have some eye cripple lead me. And I mean, even this is 3 years after he started in the military. People know who he is. They know that he's strong, but still a lot of people are kind of like disrespecting him behind his back. And this whole thing is going to change that. So Ochi, he gets together with Date Masamune's cousin by marriage, Hatakeyama, and he's like, "Hey man, we don't have to deal with this. We should like mutiny and take this land for ourselves. Like, we don't need the Dates. Who even are they? You know?"
Yeah.
And Hatakeyama's like, well, he is an eye cripple, so so they have a little squabble, right?
Okay.
And so they're like, we are not part of the Date Banner, we are us.
Mm-hmm.
And Date Masamune is kind of like, all right, oh, honey, where's my helm? Where's my eye patch? It's time to go to battle. He doesn't even like send a letter, like don't like stop that. He's just like, hey, I'm gonna make an example out of you.
Oh, wow.
And he takes his full military, and he's like, hey, remember how this used to be your land? Well, guess what? It's my land now. Like, this is all directly like on his not family stuff. His like, I guess you could say retainers, but they're like not quite under him. They were still like lands managed by other people. He's like, no, this is mine now because that guy was an asshole. So he rolls through and he takes over like pretty much the whole Sendai countryside, which is a huge area. It's like if some guy came in and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take over Pennsylvania, and that's gonna be mine now.
Oh wow!
So, and not quite as big as Pennsylvania, but maybe like from the middle of Pennsylvania to the East Coast or something like that.
Okay.
So, anyway, he's so mad, and he comes down, and then Hatakeyama, his cousin, is like, "Hey, I was wrong, and I surrender. So my bad." So Date Masamune is like, "All right, well, you're my cousin by marriage, so I'm gonna give you a chance." And, but the terms of surrender are that you give up all of your land to my family. You lose any status you have. You become a normal servant, basically.
Oh, wow.
Like a serf.
Okay.
Yeah. So, obviously, Takeyama's like, look at this kid. Thinks he, wins one battle. Thinks he can say whatever he wants. I'm his elder, blah, blah, blah. So, Takeyama, goes to his house, and he's like, hey, Uncle Teramune, surprise, I'm kidnapping you. And he kidnaps him and runs away. So now Masamune is clearly not okay with that. So he decides that, all right, surrender terms are off. I am now going to hunt down every single person who rebelled and execute them, no matter what.
Okay.
So he does that. And he finally catches up with Hatakeyama, and they have a huge gunfight alongside their sword fight. And he basically he gets like an army's worth of people to fire only at Hatakeyama, and he kills him. But he also accidentally kills his dad. Now, again, here's some unfounded theories that people like to say because they can. Some people say that he was kind of like okay with the fact that his dad died because he was afraid that like his father would be like come out of retirement and be like, yeah, I'm the boss again. And also, you know, he wanted to like show his underlings that he is the real boss.
Sure.
I don't know if that's the truth or not, but that's what he said. That's what people say. So
to me, it sounds like a very kind of old world thing to do, though. I mean, it could be completely made up, but it sounds like the kind of thing that people would think.
Like, oh, I have no choice but to kill my dad. But yeah, so that kind of tells you the kind of person that he is in the unforgiving sense. He did give his cousin a chance. I mean, he gave him ridiculous terms of surrender, but he did give him a chance. But I mean, that was, if you think about it from his point of view, if he didn't assert himself as a serious ruler at that point, given the political climate and his disability, it would be rebellion after rebellion after rebellion. So, and I'll tell you what, no one rebelled after that until he died. He had a very strong hold on pretty much all of northeastern Japan. So shortly after this, the famous Toyotomi Hideyoshi shows up.
Yes.
And he's like, Odawara Castle, that's mine now. And he kind of starves him out of Odawara Castle. He like has a big party outside for like months.
Okay, so so is this before or after Oda died?
This is still before.
Okay, so this is when Toyotomi's still working for Oda, basically. Well, working with Oda.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, he's like, all right, this is mine now. And they finally give up after a long time. And then, so, Toyotomi is basically like, all right, northeastern Japan, you're mine now. And I'm going to take over now. So, you know, join me or die. And so Masamune is like, nah, I'm good. And he refuses for a really long time. Well, first he just flat out ignores him. He's like, nah, I'm not even going to bother to answer you. So then he refuses. And not only does he refuse, but he's like, you know what? I am a Date man, and I am proud. So I'm going to go and meet this guy in nothing but my finest suit. I mean, it's a kimono type of thing, but his Sunday best, his best clothes. He just shows up in front of this angry warlord who's trying to get him to surrender. And he's like, no. Like, doesn't even have his army with him. He doesn't have his swords or anything. He's not like, I'm going to duel you. He just shows up. He's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And so Hideyoshi's like, what? Do you understand, like, the situation you're in? And he's like, yep. What are you going to do? You going to kill me? And Hideyoshi's basically like, alright, this is a trap, or this dude is just, like, so strong that he doesn't even care. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna spare your life, but you gotta work for me. But you can like be the de facto ruler of Sendai in that area. And he's like, cool. So I mentioned that he's super loyal, and basically after that, Masamune is just like Hideyoshi's right-hand man, and he goes around and does all this stuff for him. So. Now, from what I read, apparently in the anime, Masamune and Hideyoshi have like a fight to the death, and Masamune kills Hideyoshi, but that's not what happened at all.
Yeah. No.
So he after Hideyoshi dies, then he signs on with Tokugawa Ieyasu, and you know, he made the right choice because he won. So
yeah.
So then Tokugawa kind of rewards Masamune for being a bro, and he gives him even more land in Sendai.
Okay.
And but even so, no one ever really like trusts Masamune completely.
Okay.
Because they're all like, hey, you heard that story when he was like 17 that he took over the entire countryside because someone slighted him, right? and like, yeah, he wears a huge helm and is like, come at me, bro. Like, he's crazy. So people always like kind of keep him an arm's length away.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But even so, he's super, super loyal, and he's very respected by Ieyasu throughout time.
Okay.
And it's even, you know, when Ieyasu was dying, Date Masamune is one of the final people that is allowed into his private chambers. And he like reads him a bunch of poetry that he wrote. Because, oh yeah, besides being a super crazy warlord, Date Masamune has a kind of sensitive side, and he writes a bunch of poetry. So,
okay.
And it's pretty good. Like, I read some at Sendai. It's
wow.
It's good stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, he reads a bunch of poetry, then ES dies, and you know, things continue. So that's kind of who he was as a military person, right?
Yes.
He also was super involved in politics, and especially foreign affairs, which, as you can guess, was a very big rarity at the time.
Yeah.
So he kind of saw the advantage of, well, especially foreign technology. You know, he's like, wow, guns are cool, and I'm really interested in all of this other things that foreign people have. So
yeah,
he kind of like made especially with Sendai, he made a really big effort to solidify Japanese and foreign relations.
Okay.
And he was actually also very open to Christianity, which again was very, very against the norm at the time.
Yeah.
So if we go back to before Ieyasu died, you know, Ieyasu was like, I'm the emperor, so you can't worship God.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kill anyone who's a Christian, an open Christian. So Masamune for a long time was like, I'm not going to do that. And then finally Ieyasu's like, you have to do this because I'm your boss. And he's like, okay. So he starts persecuting Christians too, but he like kind of like did it in a nice way, like kind of give him more of a chance to run away and stuff like that.
I see.
Yeah, but he, even while doing that, he's like, I'm gonna have a serious foreign tourist business in this land. So he would just kind of do like a don't ask, don't tell, like, oh, I'm not gonna ask you if you're Christian. But why don't you come stay in Sendai, and you know, that would be nice. Good for everyone.
Gotcha.
So the war basically ends, and then Masamune is like, you know what? Technology is the future. So he builds this giant canal, and it's directly responsible for Sendai becoming basically the rice capital of Japan.
Oh, okay.
Or the highest quality rice in Japan. And this was in like the 1600s, so it was very important.
Yeah.
And it kind of influenced all of Japan after that later on.
Mhm.
Which is why the image character of Sendai is called Musubi Maru. Musubi is a type of rice ball. And he is a rice ball head, but he wears Date Masamune's armor. So
Nice.
he's really cute. I recommend Googling him, Musubi Maru.
Okay.
He's great. So basically, he spends all his time working on technology. He's very health conscious. He wants to live a long life. And he did. But he was also like really accepting of death. Like,
Oh, okay.
2 years before he died, he's like walking through his castle, and he sees a tree, and he's like, "This is where I want to be buried when I die." And people are like, "Oh, don't say that! Don't say that!" And he's like, "Everyone dies, and I don't know when I'll die, but that's where I want to be buried. So make it so."
Okay.
So 2 years later, at the age of 68, he does die, and they do bury him there. So good for him. I'm happy for him for that. But yeah, so he's kind of like kind of soft, but he's got the two sides, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's got furious warlord Date Masamune, and then he's also got like poetry loving romantic 11 concubine Masamune also. So
Yeah.
so I mentioned a little bit earlier about his brother not living as far as he did.
Yes.
And do you know why that is?
No, I can't say that I do.
Well, it's because Masamune killed him. Now, this is, again, going to the true heart and loyalty thing. You think, well, okay, if he's true heart and loyal, he shouldn't be killing his brother, right? And yes, but basically what happened is his mom tried to poison him twice.
Oh.
because he's doing so well as like a leader, and people start to love him, and they start to like worship him basically. Some people were even saying like, you should join the Sengoku battle and take over Japan, and he's like, nah, I'm good with Sendai. I don't need to do that. I don't want to be the king of a foreign land. Basically, I want to make Sendai great, and
Gotcha.
all of his late life energy is spent on making Sendai great, and it works. So his mom poisons him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work the first time, and then it doesn't work the second time, and he's like, "Cut that out, mom!" Like, not cool. So the second time, he's like, "All right, you are not listening, and but I can't kill you because you're my mom, and I love you, even though you've been a horrible person to me since I'm 4."
Yeah.
So he kind of like goes into the garden, and he's like, "Sorry, bro. Nothing you can do," and he kills his brother.
Yeah.
And his mom obviously goes crazy, and she kind of like leaves the house and never returns.
Oh wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
There's nothing even is like, there's no history of her after that.
Oh wow.
Some people are like, oh, she just left and wandered the countryside. Some people say like she left and she went back to her old family's house, which is definitely a possibility, but very, very taboo, because in old Japanese country, when you get married, they say you leave as a bride, or you say yome ni iku.
Yeah.
And you basically give up your previous family. You cut all ties to them. That's no longer your father. Your husband's father is your father now. So, I mean, it's definitely possible that her family was like more accepting, but it's definitely very, very uncommon, very taboo at that time.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, he's like, I can't kill my mother because she's my mother, but I got to do something because she keeps trying to poison me, and that's what he decided was the only course of action. So
I guess without his brother, she doesn't really she has nothing to fall back on.
Right. So I don't know if he thought like she was just gonna like be like, okay, I see what you're talking about now, and then like they were gonna be a happy family, or if he like was ready for her to leave, and he just wanted to stop being poisoned. But that's basically what happened.
I mean, after
yeah,
the second poisoning, I mean...
yeah. You gotta draw the line somewhere, and
yeah.
I think 2 poisonings is a pretty good line. So that about wraps up what I have for Date Masamune.
Okay.
Is there anything that you wanted to add that you knew, or that you were kind of like had more questions about?
Well, I had heard the one thing I know about Masamune that's supposedly true, but like I never know. It's hard to judge what's actually fact. Is that apparently when he was young, people were like, Masamune, he's got one eye. That one eye is gonna be dead eye is gonna be a burden. We can't have this. And he was like, oh yeah, I'll just cut out my eye, and that'll be the end of that. And they're like,
that is actually, that is actually true. Well, so there's 2 reports.
Okay.
One is that he literally ripped the eye out himself. And the other is that he like called his best friend and was like, rip my eye out, please.
Okay.
But he definitely did not have an eye anymore.
Yeah.
Like he ripped out his eye, his white eye was all like discolored and gross and blind. So they did rip it out. So that's a good point. I can't believe I forgot that, but that's a good one. And also he was really, really handsome, people say.
Okay.
There's a obviously no pictures of him, but
obviously
from his like skeleton and his like nose position and stuff, like and the pictures of him, people say he had like a really almost like foreign like nose, which was considered like really handsome at the time.
Okay.
And like his general face shape, so that's probably why he had so many concubines. But
gotcha.
He is known to be a very handsome man.
Okay.
Which he is in the Sengoku Basara anime too. So that is an surprisingly accurate part of the anime.
Yeah.
He does not use 6 swords though.
No. I'm guessing he doesn't have a horse that has motorcycle parts strapped to it for some reason.
No, he does not. Surprisingly enough, although he does love foreign technology, he does not have a motorcycle horse, or he did not have a motorcycle horse. I guess you could say that part was more artistic liberties than anything.
Yes. And I
well,
did look up this
sorry, go ahead.
Musubi Maru. He is pretty cute.
Yes.
Right? I like this.
Definitely.
I like this guy in the mascot costume who just goes around doing things. There's like a picture of him just chilling on a boat. There's another one of him standing on a pier doing like the Captain Morgan pose.
Yeah, he's a boss.
And then there's a bunch of like drawings of him, and there's like one where he's like a little baby Musubi Maru with one of those.
I gotta see that
one of those like little like baby bib things that you see like on like a Kintaro drawings of Kintaro and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it says Moo on it.
Nice. I gotta check that out. I'm definitely interested in some baby Musubi Maru. And he's like a really high ranking character. Let me pull up the last Grand Prix. So Japan loves these kind of mascot characters. This is gonna a little bit off topic, but they're called Yurukyara in Japanese, and they have a contest every year called the Yurukyara Grand Prix, and they rank, like, people rank all of the Yurukyara in Japan.
Okay.
So let's see if I can get. Oh, it's not showing up. Oh, what's going on here? Is it because I have ad block? Everyone hates ad block now, so sometimes stuff
Yeah.
doesn't show up right.
I didn't use AdBlock for a while, and then it was like websites would be bringing up things and like, we're gonna just install this spyware, and I'm like, nah, that's enough of that.
Yeah. There we go. So let's see, Musubi Maru, and then I'll search Yurikata Grand Prix. Oh, there we go. So he was number 14.
Okay.
No, sorry. Yeah, number 14. No, 15.
15?
Okay. But I mean, this is like out of 1,000 Yurikara in the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, there's so many.
Okay.
So yeah, and this is a national contest. So people from the complete opposite side of Japan are voting for him too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, he's very, very popular, and he's very, very cute. So I definitely recommend, if any of you end up in Sendai at some point, go buy some Musubi Maru goods, because all of your friends at home will be impressed.
Yeah, nice.
All right, well, I think that about wraps it up for today. Thank you for listening. If you're new or haven't got around to it, you can subscribe to us at anikiniki.podbean.com or search Aniki Nikki on iTunes. If you have any questions for future episodes, or you want to add some more Masamune history, or maybe suggest a new guy to talk about, you can send us an email at anikiniki@gmail.com. We also have a Twitter and Facebook. Both of them are accessible at Aniki Nikki Pod. There's a pod in there. Please don't forget it. All right, well, that's it for today. Have a great day. See you next time. Bye-bye.